I'm Pastor Alex Martini from St. Paul's Lutheran in Littlestown.
And I'm Beth Martini. I'm the pastor at Christ Lutheran Church in Duncannon.
We're here to talk about what does being a Christian look like?
Yes.
What do you think?
So there are probably a whole lot of ways that we could think about or answer this question. When I think about what being a Christian, how being a Christian changes me, I think of how it changes the way that I think and the way that I act.
Do you think if you were to walk into like a supermarket, you'd be able to say, that's a Christian, that's not a Christian?
I mean, no. How would you answer that question?
No, I don't think so either. I think a Christian takes all sorts of different forms, can look like all sorts of different things, can wear all sorts of different clothes, have all sorts of different tattoos, take on all sorts of different forms. And I think it's hard to, even just in actions, I think it's hard to say, oh, that's a Christian. Even if you're sitting down at your table and there are three people, writing these big checks to charity, it would be hard to say, you couldn't even just from that tell, oh, those are Christians or maybe those aren't. But I think that there are certain things that that Christians do that, I think that it's not necessarily the activities do, but that they do, but sort of the faith that is behind it. I think that you're more likely to see Christians, or when Christians are acting out their faith, you're likely to see them standing up for injustice that they see, or feeding the hungry. And it's not only Christians that will do that, but oftentimes you will see Christians do that.
Our identity as a Christian, what a Christian looks like, is formed by who God is. And that's the thing about being a Christian, is that we mess up all the time. It's not like church is just full of perfect people that have it down pat. But we are people that come together and confess that this Jesus is Lord.
Yeah, it's because if you look at the New Testament or you look at the Gospels, you could see, like Peter, for example. Peter does all sorts of things that, if we were to think about it, we would say, oh, Christians probably don't do that. Christians probably don't look like that. They don't deny Christ. They don't, things like that. I think one of the things that a Christian life is characterized by is a sense of being in relationship with God. And one of the key ways that we're in relationship with God is through prayer. It's communication, it's a dialogue, it's something, when we pray, we talk to God, and we listen to what God has to say to us. I think the Christian life is often one that's characterized by communicating with God, being intentional about being in that relationship, and that's often through our prayer life.
Yeah, so there are a couple marks,
right?
Things that are particular probably to a Christian life. Prayer, good works, faith. Yep.
Good, thanks. You can find more about St. Paul's by searching for us on Facebook, St. Paul's Littlestown.
And you can find Christ Lutheran Church in Duncannon by searching clcduncannon.org.